The Packers will promote offensive coordinator Tom Clements to associate head coach and give him the play calling responsibilities. According to ESPN.com, the goal is greater team oversight, something that was an issue when the team lost its way, quote unquote, in that title game loss to the Seahawks. Mike McCarthy has said he's willing to make a change with play calling if, quote, I felt we would be better served to have someone else call the play, end quote. The head coach is sharing the responsibilities for the greater good of the team. Skip, good move or bad move?
Stephen A. Smith, I think it's a terrible move for the Green Bay Packers. It feels scapegoatish to me. It feels like somebody's got to take the fall. Let's take the play calling away from the head coach, who to me, for the last 9 years, has established himself as maybe, just maybe, the best play caller in pro football. I would have told you that before the Seattle game. I would have said it after Seattle. You know, I'm not a big Packer fan. I'm not a big Aaron Rodgers fan, but this guy can flat out call plays. Aaron Rodgers obviously was this year's regular season MVP, and the Green Bay Packers scored the most points in the National Football League this year. And now you're going to try to strengthen the overall team by taking away the strongest strength of your head coach, which is calling plays. I don't doubt that Tom Clements could do okay because he's been with Mike McCarthy for all 9 years in Green Bay, so maybe he would be an extension of the head coach. But what happened in that Green Bay game was not Mike McCarthy's fault. I know you could say that he lost focus on the other two phases, on the special teams and the defense. I get all that, and I'm sure he could be a little better head coach if he didn't have play calling responsibilities every play. And we saw what happened with Jason Garrett this year when they took the play calling away from him, brought in Scott Linehan. Jason Garrett is not in Mike McCarthy's league as a play caller. That's just me. As a Cowboy fan, I would be the first to say that. Jason never proved to me he could call plays with the flow and the rhythm and the creativity that Mike McCarthy can call plays. And I'm going to close with a column of a couple of weeks ago, written by the longtime columnist of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, Bob McGinn, in which I thought it was gutsy and insightful to call out Aaron Rodgers for what happened in Seattle. And I'm going to quote just a couple lines from this column. Bob McGinn said, Rodgers probably played as poorly in Seattle as he has in any of his 11 playoff games. He said, great players need to make great plays in big games like this, and Rodgers really didn't make any at all. All the blunders and all the bloopers that plagued the Packers wouldn't have mattered if their main man, their highest paid player in the face of the franchise, would have stepped up and played up to his ability. Aaron Rodgers is now 6-5 in the postseason, and McGinn concludes later in the piece that if this trend continues, Aaron Rodgers will run the risk of having a football epitaph along the lines of Peyton Manning, a one-time Super Bowl winner with a playoff record of 11-13. Well, he is the quarterback, and this guy has called what I think are great series of plays for that quarterback. I think it would be a huge mistake to shift the blame onto the play calling instead of the play executor, the quarterback.
Well, I don't think it's a matter of blame. I think we all understand that Aaron Rodgers wasn't at his best. We also understand he wasn't 100%.
He wasn't 100%. That's fair.
We have to take that into consideration. I respect the column, please don't get me wrong, and he is right about the epitaph that ultimately could be written about Aaron Rodgers if he doesn't start winning postseason games. But the fact remains that Aaron Rodgers was on one leg and got them to an NFC championship.
Well, leg and a half.
Well, leg and a half. All right, fine. And got them to an NFC championship game. Now back to Mike McCarthy. I agree with everything that you're saying in terms of his ability as a play caller. He's exceptional. There is no question about it. He may be the best in the game. That is absolutely true. But that doesn't make that doesn't make me any less disappointed in what I'm hearing from you. And here is why. We speak about leaders, and true leaders. One of the greats to have ever done it, the former president here, Mr. George Bodenheimer, taught me this. True leaders know how to delegate and allocate responsibility to other folks. That's what leadership is, because nobody can do everything themselves. Mike McCarthy, there were two pivotal plays that Clay Matthews wasn't even on the field, and Mike McCarthy barely noticed.
Yeah.
Why? because you were preoccupied calling offensive plays and doing your job on that one. Well, I'm sorry. The title is head coach, not offensive coach, not offensive coordinator. You have a responsibility because you can't just rely on your offense to win football games. It's everything. Maybe, just maybe, if Mike McCarthy wasn't calling plays, he'd be better in the other facets that come along with being a head coach. Okay? Maybe whatever he's short, and I'm not saying he's a bad coach. Please don't get me wrong. The man has won double-digit games 5 of the last 6 years. Okay? He has proven himself. But, Skip, what makes me alarmed about him is that just step back and think about this statement. This guy has been there since when? Was it 2006? He said, quote, I'd be comfortable giving it up. I'm paraphrasing here. When I find someone more capable than me to do the job. You understand how that sounds? I mean, really? I mean, how do we know? You haven't given anybody the chance. And by the way, as the head coach, Skip, there is absolutely nothing wrong with a head coach sitting there and leaving and delegating that responsibility to somebody else, knowing that at any moment during the course of a game, he can confiscate that authority and take over. What's to stop Mike McCarthy from sitting there and saying to the offensive coordinator, okay, it's the fourth quarter, I'm going to take it over right here. Now, because based on the momentum of a game, how it's going. Because not only that, if you are so great, well then, couldn't it wear off? If somebody's around you and working under you, couldn't they learn from your expertise? When does the teacher give the pupil an opportunity to step up and show its mustard? That's all I'm saying. So to me, when I think about Mike McCarthy, I'm in no way questioning his greatness as an offensive play caller. What I'm saying is, you have Aaron Rodgers. If that ain't enough confidence to give somebody else the reins so you can focus on some other things, because I have Aaron Rodgers. I mean, my goodness, Skip, you're number one. Okay, what's the problem if you're number 3? I mean, is it really? Are you really worried? You got the number 1 offense in points in the NFL. Is it really a problem if you got a new offensive coordinator that comes in? Oh my God, what is he going to do? Slip to 2 or 3? It's going to be the end of the world. It gives you an opportunity to focus on other elements of your football team, which clearly some would say he needed to do. So I'm not questioning the competency. First of all, I'm not qualified to. But even if I were, I'm not questioning the competency or the greatness of Mike McCarthy. I'm simply saying you have the ultimate security blanket, in my opinion, in Aaron Rodgers. Not just because of his ability, but because of the accountability that we all recognize he has to have thrusted upon his shoulders. If you have that, what's wrong with taking an opportunity to give somebody else a chance to shine?
Okay, remember, they were up 19-7 at Seattle in the NFC Championship game until 2:13 remained in the fourth quarter. So it wasn't disastrous until the last 2:13. A lot of good stuff happened.
But I guess what I'm saying is, who's calling the plays then? It was McCarthy. So in other words, what I'm trying to say to you is that you came up short too. So if you came up short too, that's what you did. There's nothing wrong with taking the opportunity. Let's see what Clements or somebody else, or Bennett, the offensive coordinator, let's see what they have an opportunity to show us. Let's give them a chance, because as the head coach, you can always take it back. Listen, man, we sit there. We got vacations coming up and stuff like that. But guess what, Skip? We're coming back. I seem to be here. You understand? So the point is, somebody else sitting in that chair, that doesn't mean that you get to replace us. We have the authority to come back when we please to take the seat. This seat right here, this is my seat. Now, I might get a break, but when I come back, you better find another seat to sit in, because this is the seat I'm going to be sitting in.
So they should let Tom Clements have it for 1 week, and the big guy comes back.
I'm just saying, it doesn't matter whether it's 1 week, 16 weeks. Mike McCarthy can make that call, but there's nothing wrong with him giving somebody an opportunity to step up and see what they got. They work for you. You don't work for them.
No, I agree.
You don't work for them.
Okay, I'm going to be on record here. The Green Bay Packers will struggle if Tom Clements calls plays the whole year next year. On record. Okay, but what I'm saying to you, if you're struggling, you don't have to give them the whole year. All right.
You can give them a few weeks. And if it's not working, look, we tried it. You ain't working. I got this. What's the problem? You've been doing it for 9 years.
Overreaction.
It's not an overreaction.
A debacle of a loss.
No, it's about McCarthy. You got special teams and defense to focus on too. You need.
They fired the special teams coach.
That's right.
They started
Why?
there.
Why?
Well, you know why.
Exactly.
McCarthy said they needed more oversight. One of the instances were this. The team's wide receiver said they didn't know cornerback Richard Sherman was playing with a bad left elbow injury, something someone should have notified them from the sidelines. Again, his play calling responsibilities handed away just for maybe a short period of time. We will see. We leave it here. Coming up next, we talk about Richie Incognito. He's back in the National Football League. Skip and Stephen A. give their take. We're back in just a few moments.